Okay folks, so in today's video I want to go over the Oculus accessories that you can 3D print now that I've done some of the stuff for the HTC Vive platform. So I'm going to try and keep this video nice and short, but I'll go over some of the coolest accessories that are out there right now. So if you still have the Rift and you need the camera sensors mounted out of the way, this particular mount seems to do a really fine job at that. As you can see, it kind of mounts really nicely and out of the way. I really like this design, and it seems like you can just mount it with some 3M tape or some peelable Velcro straps. There's another alternative if you want a slightly cleaner look where the camera isn't kind of hanging off to the side, where you have this one, and it is also spring tensioned. And moving on, there's another type of camera mount where you've got a kind of webcam style design, and again it mounts onto the wall, though in this case it looks like you screw it in as opposed to using Velcro straps, for example. Now, if you happen to have the Oculus Quest controllers that are also used on the Rift S as well, you can get a kind of knuckle strap form where you basically put in some basically wire, or you can use shoestring, whatever you have that can loop through this type of controller and give you a kind of knuckles type strap. This isn't the only type of design out there that they have nowadays. One of the coolest ones, let me see if I can find it now. So there's this guy where you have this kind of strap that goes around the whole controller and then loops around your arm. Now this design is nice, but I think that over time you're going to find that the pressure on your hand with this style of design is going to be a little bit painful. One of the better ones that I found is this one by Kiwi Design, where you literally have a knuckles type setup, and at the same time it looks really clean. It almost looks like it was designed this way from the get-go, and just an overall really nice, simple, straightforward knuckles type strap. Now they're not the only ones to be doing this. There's this one by, I'm not even sure how to pronounce that name, where it looks like they even come with a special grip adapter as well. Also comes with another kind of headpiece there to be able to give you a slightly softer and comfort level. So again, this is the one that I would personally recommend getting over some of these kind of cloth adapters that seem to be really popular nowadays for that controller. Now moving on, if you have the Oculus Go, there's also a kind of, as it's called, a noob tube adapter, where you're able to have basically a gun stock for the Oculus Go should you have that particular headset still around. Really cool design for this one, and it makes it just that much easier to play gun games in Oculus software. Now if you're one of those folks that has some sort of issues with your original kind of DK2, where you need a diopter adjuster, then this is one of the better ways to do this, as they have multiple in here that you can use. Really nice adjustment for those of you folks that are having eye problems and still happen to have your original DK2. Moving on here, we have the Vive and Oculus mount that mounts your Lighthouse base station and the Oculus Constellation tracking camera at the same time. This one in particular looks to be a tripod mount. I haven't seen if there's any that are, sort of a different style, but at least you have the ability to mount via tripod. So really cool design here if you have the Rift and the Vive ecosystem stuff. Now here's another one for you Oculus Touch and Oculus Quest users, where you're able to have a very knuckle-like lock strap. A slightly different design here, and again one that I don't personally necessarily condone, mainly because of the fact that even with these sort of spring adapters, you often run into issues of pain over long periods of time. I recommend using the strapped adapters, such as the Kiwi Design one, if I can go back to it, as these will be a lot more comfortable for your hands in the long run. So that's one of those that's really nice. Now moving on here, if again you still have your Oculus Go, there is a battery pack holder for that unit to allow you to have a longer playtime. So this one's fairly self-explanatory. You just mount one of these battery packs in here, and it allows you to continue using the unit way past its typical battery usage. Now moving on to the Rift again here, we've got an adjustable gun stock with a adjustable kind of shoulder rest, as well as magnetic mounts for your controllers to allow you to have a fully customizable experience with your original Rift controllers. I suppose that you could probably modify some other 3D printable mounts to use with the touch controllers as well if you happen to like this gun stock, but as it stands, this one's primarily designed for the Oculus stuff here. And again, going back, we have the original touch controller gun stock, which will be useful for those of you still rocking the original touch controllers. These are really cool, and again, this one, even though not entirely customizable in terms of the cheek piece height and in terms of, you know, being able to vary the shoulder length for the actual shoulder rest, but nonetheless, it allows you to mount your controllers in a nice and predictable fashion here. And then we have another one which is a similar design but a slightly different kind of quality on the actual butt piece, as this one doesn't seem to have any of the little ridges there, so again you can kind of adjust with your own rubber padding should you choose to go that route. And then we have yet another mod for the original touch controllers that give it a kind of Knuckles-like grip. Really neat design with this one, since it seems to be using more of a cord versus, or rather I should say more of a cloth than a cord that you would typically see being used, which means this one's going to be a little bit more comfortable than something like the Mammut grips that a lot of people have been popularizing for the Oculus ecosystem for quite a while now. So this basically concludes it for the Oculus video, guys. I'm going to be doing the Pimax stuff next, so tune in for that video for 3D printable accessories and other accessories that you can buy for your Pimax. And until next time, it's Crazy Welder.